Welcome back, crime mystery lovers. Today we're going to be covering Kai Lawrence, the hatchet-wielding hitchhiker. From a homeless youth turned internet sensation to a gruesome murderer, today's tale is about the curious case of Kai. On May 13, 2003, 73-year-old attorney Joseph J. Galfy Jr. was discovered lifeless on his bedroom floor. When the authorities found his lifeless body with nothing around it, there were too many unanswered questions. Was it an accident or a cold-blooded murder? If it was a murder, where was the murder weapon? It was all a blur until the detectives discovered an unlikely clue, one that would give them all the answers they needed. This tiny clue turned the officers' attentions toward a celebrity. A man who went viral for being a hero was suddenly at the heart of a murder investigation. He claimed self-defense, but all the evidence pointed towards a more sinister motive. Tag along as we unpack the story of the internet sensation turned murderer, the story of a troubled childhood, a carefree youth, and a dark secret. But before we go any further, don't forget to hit like and subscribe to our channel to enjoy similar content. In 2013, Kai was hitchhiking across America. He'd spent many nights sleeping along Route 99 in California on a road heading north to Fresno. On February 1st, 2013, as he stood beside the highway, a black Oldsmobile stopped and the driver offered him a ride. The driver, Jet Simmons McBride, was an odd character who believed in conspiracy theories he had read online. In fact, that fateful morning, McBride was on his way to stop a terrorist attack he thought was about to happen at the Super Bowl. McBride had barely eaten in weeks. He had bags under his eyes and weighed 300 pounds at 54 years old. Somehow, he believed that he was Jesus Christ, could do anything he wanted, and that white trucks belonging to the Illuminati were following him. Although strange, this encounter was still pretty normal for Kai. McBride even gave him $40 to buy pot, and the two smoked a joint on the roadside before driving again. But the events that unfolded later along that car ride turned Kai into a hero. According to Kai's account, out of nowhere, McBride swerved his car into a group of construction workers while blurting out racial slurs at them. One worker got seriously injured as McBride crushed him between his car and truck. As bystanders rushed to help, McBride got out of his car yelling, "I am Jesus Christ," and attacked another woman. Witnesses report that he held a woman in a bear hug, attacking her. Kai, who was in the passenger seat then, had taken McBride's keys and rushed to help the distressed woman. In a frenzied rush, Kai smashed a hatchet on McBride's skull at least 3 times. In those moments of chaos, Kai became a hero. He even got interviewed by KMPH TV News in Fresno, which went viral. Their internet was in love with this eccentric and unlikely hero. As Kai rose to fame, the curiosity behind his identity also grew. People wanted to know more about their favorite hitchhiker. He was chased by producers, news channels, journalists, and countless internet fans. He even made an appearance on the Jimmy Kimmel Show and gave interviews. He called himself home free, a surfer from South Virginia with no possessions or surname, on a mission to save life. He didn't fit the Hollywood stereotype of a homeless man, talked about peace and acceptance, and brought joys to people's lives. But soon, people would find out he wasn't what everyone thought he was. Only 3 months after his rise to fame, Kai found himself on the wrong side of the story as the villain. He had hitchhiked across the United States all the way to New York. On May 11, 2013, at some point, he befriended a 73-year-old Joseph Galfy. Galfy was a New Jersey-based attorney with his own law firm, Kochansky, Barron, and Galfy PC. Galfy invited Kai to his New Jersey home in Clark to enjoy some time together, and good old Kai was happy to tag along. They ended up spending the next 2 days together. However, on May 13, 2013, Kai wrote an alarming social media post. He claimed that he was drugged, had woken up in a stranger's home, and was the victim of a sexual assault. All of these are serious allegations. On the same day, Galfy did not show up to work either. Alarmed by his unannounced absence and not answering his phone, his paralegal could smell something wrong. Soon, the police were alerted to check up on Galfy. When the police finally arrived, they saw scenes of absolute carnage. Galfy lay down on his bedroom floor, almost naked and mercilessly beaten to death. He had been assaulted in such a terrible manner that one of his ears was almost completely ripped off from his head, and he had severe fractures to his ribs, neck, and face. With no signs of forced entry and the house's valuables still present, the detectives were sure it wasn't a case of a robbery gone wrong. This was a personal attack. They had a body but no murder weapon or signs of the killer. Detectives began looking for clues as time to catch the murderer started running out. As they looked for leads of whether or not Galfy had any enemies, they came across a small note, a name and a number tucked under his laptop, their first substantial lead. With a quick look at his messages, the same name from the paper came up, Lawrence Kai. They knew it had to mean something. As they looked into Kai, a strange post on his Facebook caught the detectives' attention, an accusation of sexual assault, ending with a question, "What would you do?" And just like that, the unlikely hero, Kai Lawrence, became the prime suspect in a murder investigation. On May 16, 2013, the police got their first real lead on Kai since the day of the murder. By now, he was 100 miles away in a coffee shop in Philadelphia when one of his fans spotted him and called the police. He was taken into custody for interrogation shortly after and officially charged with murdering Joseph Galfy. After his arrest, the true story of the mysterious Kai came to light, one that was nothing like what his loving fans had imagined, one that made everyone question whether or not he was a hero the first time he gained notoriety. His real name wasn't even Kai. It was Caleb Lawrence McGilvery, born on September 3rd, 1988. He wasn't from South Virginia, but from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Apparently, killing Galfy wasn't his first time committing a crime either. He had crossed the Canadian-American border illegally to hitchhike his way across the states. During the investigation and trial, disturbing details from his childhood came up. His parents got divorced when he was still young. He had behavioral issues and ADHD, due to which he spent most of his childhood in mental health facilities, often hospitalized until he tried to run away at the age of 14. After that, Kai was taken into the system. This non-compliant behavior also resurfaced during the time he spent in jail following his arrest. At one point, he even had to be hospitalized due to self-inflicted injuries. By 18, he had cut ties with all of his family, including his brother and parents, and went on to live his life hitchhiking wherever the road took him. Among his few possessions, there was another interesting piece to the puzzle, a list containing names of known sexual offenders. Was this his brand of vigilante justice? One look at his interview at Fresno hinted a pattern. During this particular interview following McBride's chaotic car crash, he said something about McBride. McBride had apparently told Kai that he had raped a 14-year-old girl on a business trip. Given Kai's disturbing background and the murder charges against him, it makes sense to be at least a little skeptical about his account of how things went down in Fresno. However, even as a notorious murderer, Kai's devotees stood by him, even starting fundraisers and petitions to help him legally. Their faith in him finally dwindled once more details of the murder were released. Kai was a difficult suspect. He did not respect the decorum of the court, interrupted and spoke without turn, made accusations at his attorney, and even requested the judge to allow him to represent himself without an attorney. Thankfully, this motion was denied. Like Kai, his trial was just as difficult. It didn't start until 3 years after the murder, and it didn't go well for him either. He claimed self-defense. However, the mounting evidence, including surveillance footage and cell phone data, did not back up his story, which had several inconsistencies to begin with. However, the testimony of Dr. Junaid Sheikh of the Division of the County Medical Examiner was the most damaging to his case. Commenting on the severe blunt force injuries to the 73-year-old victim who was suffering from a heart condition, Dr. Sheikh said that the injuries to his face, head, neck, chest, and arms, especially the 3 facial fractures, 4 broken ribs, severe contusions, abrasions, and bleeding, did not support Kai's argument. Despite all the evidence pointing against him, Kai maintained his innocence and pleaded not guilty. He was charged with first-degree murder and sentenced to 57 years in prison. The judge addressed Kai as the proceedings ended. When you become eligible for parole, you will still be younger than Mr. Galfy was when you murdered him. It's safe to say that Kai wasn't pleased with the way his trial proceeded. He continues to maintain his innocence and claims that evidence proving his innocence was tampered with or ignored. Regardless of his opinions, the once hero Kai is going to continue serving his sentence in prison. If you enjoyed this channel and want to keep watching content like this, please support my channel by hitting the like on this video and subscribing to my channel. And remember, stay safe out there.